Hello and welcome to this latest Lukozer retro game review, and for this one we have Karnov. Now that is a title that should send shivers down the spines of anybody who had a Commodore 64 and was stupid enough to buy this monumentally staggering heap of shit. What you are seeing here, the game has actually started, I didn't select to start. You are actually seeing the Commodore 64 version. I have not accidentally put on a Spectrum emulator. This is what the Commodore 64 version looked like. They ported the Spectrum version over lock, stock and fucking barrel. So no sprites as far as I can tell, it's just UDGs. There is even colour clash on a Commodore 64 game. The arcade original was a stagnant heap of shit to begin with. There were three titles that really stood out for me: Karnov, Grisor and Rygar, that was the third one. That all left me thinking, why the fuck would anyone bother to convert it? You know, they were shit games. No one was interested. And yet they went ahead and did it anyway. But this was the one that utterly takes the piss. Not only because the arcade original was such a heap of shit, but to then have the unmitigated nerve to release the Commodore 64 version looking like this. And it's basically, you know, if we just shat on somebody's data set, you know, the cassette recorder, and released it as a game, this is what it would look like. And I mean, as far as I'm aware, people did buy it, though who and why remains a mystery. I mean, look at it, Commodore 64, and it looks like this. It moves, you know, it's ridiculously sluggish moving around. You may as well forget about it, to be honest. And words cannot sum up my utter contempt for this game and everything that, you know, it stands for. What a fucking unbearable sack of bullshit. When it came out, it was entirely justifiably mauled to death in the reviews. I mean, it has no redeeming qualities of any kind. It is just one almighty pile of shit. And I think if I had, you know, if I'd bought the game and all it did was render a pair of bollocks on the screen, I would have enjoyed that more than, you know, this fucking thing. It's just, I mean, I consider what I'm saying here to be quite reserved compared to what I really think of it, because I just do not possess the ability to put into words the level of contempt I have for this game and for the programmers, and I use the word advisedly. I mean, look at the character there. When I'm firing, yellow blocks of colour clash around it and around the enemy I'm fighting against. colour clash everywhere. This is a fucking Commodore 64. I just think that the people who made this game should be banned from ever going near a fucking computer again. And with any luck, that's exactly what happened to them. And I don't remember who actually released this. It might have been Activision, I'm not sure. I mean, the arcade original was by Data East, and I can't believe that they took one look at this and said, yeah, that's good, you can release that. I mean, this is going under their name. It probably would destroy what pissant little reputation they might have had, considering that they released this down the arcades to begin with. So, I mean, they were already known for, you know, making shit, and yet they went ahead anyway and said, yeah, sure, yeah, do the Commodore 64 version like this as well. Because now I'm in this position here where I think I'm stuck here, because if I go through here I'm going to fall to my death, but it didn't let me actually turn back and be able to jump to the platform I was going. So not only does it look like shit and move like shit, but the actual gameplay is just like shit as well. I mean, everything about it is just bullshit of the purest order. You know, I can't overstress enough at what a fucking insult to the Commodore 64 this game is. And I think, you know, if you bought this in the day, then either, you know, they saw you coming, or you're just a fucking retard and, you know, should be euthanized for the benefit of yours and ours, you know, well, basically for the benefit of the whole of humanity, really. Mercifully, I didn't have this game in the day, because I thought the arcade original was a stagnant heap of shite, so I wasn't going to go anywhere near the conversion. But I remember reading the reviews, and they said that it was basically the Spectrum version ported lock, stock and barrel, and I thought, no, they can't possibly have done that. So I've just tried this out now to see if it's true, and fuck me, is it true? Or, well, yes. And it's I can feel like my blood pressure just rising with every second that I'm sitting here actually playing this fucking thing. And, you know, I just have that thought going through my head that they released a Commodore 64 game and made it look like this and said, yep, that's fit for release, off you go. It just makes me think, okay, this game was made by cunts, for cunts, and, you know, what a fucking load of bollocks. This could make me lose the will to live. It's just fucking bullshit, and I have a really happy feeling, yes, that was the end. So that's game over in every sense of the word. And this came out in 1988. Electric Dreams was the people responsible for this. So but 1988 was, you know, a long way into Commodore 64 era. They were capable of producing monumentally good games. Impossible Mission came out 4 years before this. Believe it or not, I will rate this game 0. In fact, no, I'm going into the negatives. It's minus 10 out of 10 for this fucking load of bollocks. It's an insult to anything that is in any way associated with it. And that even includes the shitty, wanky original arcade game. I mean, that game is already a load of fucking bollocks, and this somehow, like, miraculously manages to be an insult to that. And that really is, you know, the final, well, nail in its coffin, if it ever actually arrived in anything other than an already fully nailed down coffin. I mean, it has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, apart from the fact that you can turn it off and rid yourself of this stagnant heap of fucking festering gonads, and be glad that you can spend the rest of your life knowing that you will never have to endure this fucking shit ever again. So in that way, this review has been useful, because it now means that you have every reason to treat this game like the fucking leper it is. In case you weren't aware of it, I don't recommend it. It's not a favourite. So yes, minus 10 out of 10, and I would go lower than that if my scoring system allowed it. Unquestionably the worst Commodore 64 game I have ever played. Ever. And that means it's worse than Countdown to Meltdown. It's worse than Knight Rider. Need I go on? I think the point has been made. So that's Karnov. Well, at least we know that whatever the next game is, it will be better than this one. So with that in mind, I shall see you at the next one.